We are live. Can you hear me clearly now?
I can hear you, and you're
Wow.
having a big boy out, eh?
Yes, I had to put it close to my mouth because
That,
every time we start, man, I'm crackling and stuff. He's like, Sean, I can't hear you. I'm like, can you hear me now?
Sean, come on, you had to whip it out.
Mic check.
So, we are back for another episode of Talking Movies. With today, we are talking Dunes parts 1 and 2. Last week, we did the David Lynch Dune. So now we're doing the recent Dune films. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, my partner, Varangian Vigilante. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Busy day, low energy, but talking Dune, hey, I always have some extra energy for talking Dune. Even if with part 2 I'm having my issues, but we're gonna talk about that.
And we are also joined by Chase, 71889.
What's good, fellas? What's good, people? Talking Dune Part 1 and 2. I missed last week, so I'll share some of my thoughts on the original Dune movie as well. Give a little quick thoughts on it and compare it to the two. So, we're gonna be in for a good long ride talking Dune 1 and 2.
Absolutely.
About as long as the books.
I do have to say that the book is a very fast read. Some people call it a doorstop. It ain't that thick, and it's like a very fast read. I absolutely like. Every time I read it, I devoured it. As a youth, when I was reading it in German, was great, and then when I later read it in English, even better. Frank Herbert, just a fantastic writer, which is interesting because Tolkien and him didn't really work so much because both have a very different approach on writing. But yeah, so of course, I was looking so much forward to the new Dune movies, but also with a lot of fear. I refused to watch any trailer. I really wanted to go completely blind into the movie, which I managed to do so, luckily. And part 1 absolutely blew me away. Loved every bit of it. I have not felt like going out of the cinema after Dune Part 1 since watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy in cinemas. It really gave me the same feeling of epicness. The scope of the world building, really done fantastic. So of course the hopes were very high for Part 2, even though I already knew, part 1 didn't really cover half of the book, so there's still a lot happening, and I thought that everything can be pushed into Part 2, which sadly was correct. But what I didn't like so much were changes of character, some very elemental changes. And also here have to say, when you didn't read the books and you watched Dune Part 1 and Part 2, phenomenal movies. You probably won't find anything to complain about. And this is pretty much on me and everybody else who read the book and do the comparison. Comparison truly is the thief of joy. And for me to have expected something differently is completed on me, because this is Villeneuve's interpretation of Dune. So of course it is his complete right to change certain elements. And then as a Dune fan you don't accept some of that, up to me. I still have the book. Nobody can take the book away from me. But after watching Dune Part 2 of the cinema, when you're hungry, but not so hungry that you would devour everything, and you just eat something that doesn't hit the spot right.
Yeah.
And this I felt after watching Part 2. It's like, hey, there's so many fantastic things in this, but I don't feel satisfied.
Is it like certain things that they didn't put in there that were important to the book that you felt that should have been highlighted, or is it like certain characters?
I mean, of course, and you have certain changes of characters. Sometimes it works with Chani.
I was just thinking Chani. because that was, to me, compared to the original movie, like that they kind of like there was no conflict with time. They just fell in love. And
exactly. You know, this is something that really annoyed me. You know, a lot of people saying, "Hey, she has finally like a bigger character now." You know, there's conflict in it. She has like her own opinion. But what I really loved so much in the book was their love to each other. Was that they completely stood side by side, and it didn't matter what anybody threw at them. And I really, you know, I love this kind of love when just people are not so much looking at each other but towards the same direction, because I think this is like the deepest kind of love that you can really build upon. And they just, you know, when I watched this, it didn't really felt like, you know, of course it felt like too much like a modern relationship. While like a modern like teenage relationship, which I didn't think fit that much into this context, especially since what also like I would have loved more, because of course in the book Paul, you know, tells her right in front, "Hey, I'm gonna go into her, like basically I have to marry this person. I give a shit about her. And like, you're my true love, but this is dynasty, this is politics." And Charlie, being an intelligent woman, understood it. And here, you know, which some people claim, oh, they added more character to Charlie to give it like more of a personality. She actually acts like a stupid emotional kid.
I
agree with that.
I felt the same way. Just watching her character go through that movie, I was felt like her emotions are really getting the best of her in these situations where Paul has this thing where he's trying to unite plans and go head on, and she's kind of like being in his way, instead of seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Which is really sad, because I think Zendaya was a very good cast for that character. She fits like Arrakis very well, and I think also in part one, you know, she had like a really good performance, and just in part two, you know, it's always like, okay, she started to be annoying, but of course it's like the writing, it's not her fault. Like, she has to repeat what is like on the paper, and she's still like nailed it very much what she has to say. But I think that they really did her character like dirty with that. I don't know. I mean, what is also very interesting, because you haven't read the book and you still feel the same, that this just didn't feel.
There was one part that's why I can't wait to get to that part again when they were talking with each other. There was one part when I was like, I kind of like, I disagree with her. It's almost like, you know, that Paul, his main goal is not only to get everyone united, but if he has to dethrone the emperor, you know that at one point that he's gonna have to do something with the daughter. Yeah. And that's when he said, "Oh, I would take the daughter, marry her." She should have kind of knew that was kind of coming because of the politic rules between them.
I think I just had it in my mind why this sucks so much, because this is basically the storyline that we had with Anakin Skywalker and with Padme. Don't go where I cannot follow.
Yes. And you know how I felt about those prequels. I'm not a big fan.
Exactly. I know Star Wars is like inspired by Dune, like that. Lucas copied a lot from Dune. Please, Dune, don't recopy the shitty parts.
It was almost like at the end of that movie, they ended that movie almost like a negative way.
Yes.
Paul. That's why I was like, this scene kind of, whereas the original movie, it was like a positive.
Exactly.
With the Emperor, he was able to make the deal with the Emperor, and in a positive note. Whereas this movie, they made concern. They like you said they had the other ship, the what's the name people that came.
The houses, the other
Yeah,
houses.
the houses.
Yeah.
And this they add the houses up in it, and our houses decline. They offer and Paul send the whole army up there to space to
like basically the second Dune movie ends with another cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. Like, oh, this is kind of negative.
And it made me like shit. Now I was telling Jason this. I was like, I don't want to watch the damn miniseries now.
Watch the miniseries.
Because I even told Haile, I was like, man, if I had more time, I would have watched the miniseries of Dune and stuff. Because I was like, I want to get more, and I was like, shit. Now I gotta go read the books now.
Yeah. I think that the plan is, of course, since they already greenlit another Dune movie, which they should have just made it a trilogy. Like their first book, a trilogy, would have worked way better because then they could have explored a lot of things further and didn't have to cut out some very important characters. But they already did greenlit like Dune Messiah. So, and I think they wanted to have like the ending fluid back into Dune Messiah, even though because they already ignored like a big time jump, like with part 2. Like they ignored the whole time jump because in the books a lot of time passed, and Johnny and Paul already have a kid, which they have Conan kill later, which explains also why Paul gets even more angry, like at the end. And of course, his sister is already born, which it felt like a little bit of. I know some people praise it because they said that it was eerie in the original movie, or even eerie in the book, because when she was like basically like really a baby and she had like all the intelligence, like Alia. But I really, it really felt like a cop out, like to have like her talking right, like telepathy, like inside the womb, and I absolutely loved Wit's performance as Aaliyah in the '84 movie, because she really got like this uncanny, like but a good kind of uncanny, like in there, and her killing the Baron.
Yeah.
Feel totally deserved, and it was totally believable, because she really because the kid acted very well, and whoever voiced it had like also like this creepy voice, which was still sounding like a kid voice, but still with the intelligence of not only an adult but of all the Bene Gesserits in the line before. Yeah. So I think that, of course, in the next movie, casting her as Taylor Joy, I generally love like the actress, because she was fantastic in Furiosa. I really loved her also like in The Witch. Fantastic actress, very well cast of the character. And so they're gonna do a time jump, of course. So they're gonna do the time jump. Yeah, of course. Like when they cast her, they have to do so.
But here's the thing with the time jump. It's like, how far can we go? Because now we got Paul and the Freeman against all the other houses. So it's like, where does that fit in this equation?
It's generally, like, it should start with him being the Emperor.
Because that's why I was like, that's how the first movie, the original movie, ended with him being the Emperor.
Yeah,
here,
so
the houses declined him, and now he's going to war with them.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. What I could see them doing depends, of course. Dune Messiah is way shorter as a book than the original Dune, but what I could totally see is, since also Dune Messiah like starts like with a historic like excursion a little bit, so that you can maybe we have like a prologue that just tells us about what's happening. That could be something, but yeah, there was not a real ending.
No, it wasn't.
No. And I feel like the way they left that in, like, this part 3. Are they gonna do Doom Part 3? Like,
Yeah,
I didn't
it's going to be
anticipate
picked up right after this.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I mean it will also. I could see them still doing Children of Dune, but I highly doubt they would ever go to God Emperor.
And that's why it's like it got me in my mind. It's like, you know, I want to watch those miniseries because I want to see where it goes. Because we talked backstage about the presence of Duncan Idaho, and and how the original Dune movie, he didn't really have a presence. And like he went out battling, but it was kind of unceremoniously compared to what we saw in Dune Part 1. And I'm not the biggest Jason Momoa fan, but I did like his presence as Duncan Idaho and how Paul revered him and looked up to him as an idol. So they really nailed the characteristics from what I read of Duncan Idaho in that film.
They did that very well, even though I would have never ever cast Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I agree.
But he was not as annoying as I feared he would be in the role. So he held it pretty much together, and not just being like a surfer.
Like the only part that had some comedy in it was when the Freeman came in, the leader of the Freeman came in, Javier Bardem, and spat on the table.
But Javier Bardem still was awesome, perfect. Absolutely loved it. As a straight man who played a little bit for laughs in the part 2, I can accept that. But yeah, but talking about part 1, my absolutely favorite role was Duke Leto, played by Oscar Isaac. And and you know, when I was so wowed because I only saw it when I watched New Star, when they watched The Force Awakens, and that movie sucked. So seeing it now, like, it's like, oh, he has a lot of acting talent. Like, he's a fantastic actor. Like, the way he carried Leto, you know, I already really enjoyed Jürgen Prochnoff's performance, like in the first one, who did an excellent job. But Oscar Isaac gave this character so much gravitas, so much depth, and you know, the way he talked with Paul, that you know, that is about the importance of like him following, and if he's not up to the task, then he shouldn't do it. Also, like what the quote I used, like, you know, that we are like House Atreides, there is no call, we do not answer. And the way he portrayed the character, without even, like, you didn't need any mentioning that, oh, he can be a threat to the Emperor. No, you just see him and you see his natural leadership, the way he portrays, and you see, okay, that is why the Landsrat is very much in favor of Duke Leto. And it's like, the Emperor is fearing him.
Yeah. Because
he's like a born leader, and you know, such a fantastic role.
Definitely, like, and props to, I don't want to butcher his name, but you said it perfectly, from the original Dune.
Yeah, Jürgen Prochnow.
Yeah, he played the character great, but Oscar really matched his performance with how he portrayed Leto, and
this is about his mannerism. The way he said with his chin up, like that's a real Duke. The way how he presents himself.
Yes.
He like, that's a man. That's a Duke right there.
And the way he carried himself, even in death.
I even liked how he chastised the guy who, you know, when after the little secret thing that came to attack Paul, and the guy tried to apologize and say, you know, step down. So I was like, nah, you know, this thing almost killed my son, and he went at him. He said, go out there and find out what the issue is.
Exactly, and there was like Two Fear, which of course is like they had the house mandate, and next to, of course, the Doctor Names. Dr. Nguyen, Nguyen. But yeah, True Fear. They sadly cut his part out of the second movie because it would be fantastic. Because he was captured by the Harkonnen, which of course we have seen in the original movie, and I think that it felt also a little bit cheated because they gave him also like a lot of focus in the part 1, and that the completely cutting out of part 2 felt also like I felt cheated.
Yeah. It sucks when you have a movie that like 2 parts and a character is still alive, but then they just trimmed him down in the second film to the point where it's like, well, damn, I liked that character. Why you ain't give him more?
And something we already mentioned last week, with Dr. Who is that his portrayal didn't come across. Yeah, there's no weight behind it. Like this was the only weakness, what I said with Dune Part 1, is that this should have been built up better. The portrayal.
We only see Dr. Ewan when he's doing his tests and stuff, and then when the betrayal comes, it's like, well, that's out of nowhere. Whereas the original film, David Lynch's film, we get dialogue from him and why he does what he does.
And in the book, of course, we get like a lot of monologues in his head where he's, in a way, said he is conflicted and he's so sorry, but he has to do it. Like even though if he thinks already probably that his wife is dead, but as a husband he has to do it, and so the original movie did a better job. But of course, you can't, Kenneth, you can't have it like as exact in the book because then you would have so many monologues.
Which the first movie, like I said, I liked the inner monologues of the first film, but again, too much of it will be overkill, and they have to make some restrictions on that.
And of course, both movies ignored Count Fenring.
Oh man.
His wife is in part 2, who's trying to get the kid from Fate Router on Giddy Prime and the arena.
We talked about Sting's performance, but what did you think of Fred in this one, in Dune Part 2?
I wouldn't say that it's not accurate because, of course, Faith Router is a fucking sociopath. But him being like one of the most beautiful Harkonnen, and I didn't think that came across. He was too much. I mean, I would have expected him differently in optic way. In general, I was not really a fan with the aesthetics of a lot of the Harkonnens.
Too much. All you need to do was put some pins on them, and they look like Hellraiser.
Except like Cenobites and Hellraiser. Yeah. So, like with the Baron, because he has like this sickness, like his body is degenerating, and he knows.
He looked too clean though, even in the form. Like that was my biggest problem with the recent Hellraiser they did. Like all them Cenobites looked clean and they did not look disgusting. Like the Cenobites looked disgusting in the Hellraiser.
Cenobites should look very fuckable.
But even the Baron in his slithering state, he just looked too clean. Whereas the 84 Baron looked
disgusting.
I was telling Sean this, like the Baron in the new movies, he looked more intimidating when you see him and all, but the Baron in the 84 movie, he has more of a character and a more personality wise.
Yeah.
You think you won't be afraid of him? But you will be afraid of him when you see how crazy he is.
And the Baron in the book is a mixture of both. So both movies like cover like an aspect of him because he is scheming. He's perfect with intrigues. He's even like in the book, Fate Router is like since the Baron is also a very sadistic homosexual, he's like giving him like a slave, and the slave is trying to kill him, like in a plot in the book. Of course, the Baron knows him and kills the slave first, and then says fate should come. And then he told me, your place. I'm not gonna punish you. Like your day will come when you rule this, but it's not today. So like and stop with this bullshit.
I even liked the arena trial where he had them fight the warriors, and one of the warriors wasn't limping. They're like, he's not limping. Stop the fight, because he was fully healthy, so he can be a strong challenge. And the Baron's like, he's got to earn his stripes.
Yeah. And Fate Ruther is one of the best fighters in the universe. So
yeah, I like I said, I liked Sting's performance, but I felt like this one really showed the sadistic side of him.
And they gave him, of course, more time. Like in the original, Fate Ruther has like very little screen time. I mean, also like Batista's, of course, also fantastic.
Oh yeah,
as Beast Raban, he's became such a great actor.
And I love Batista. I like that. I like his emotions, because like someone say that he's been great as an actor, but his facial emotions, when you ever see his character, the look of his concern, especially when he saw that how much of the spice they were losing.
Yeah, I mean, this was also a setup. I think they didn't mention that in the new movies. I think that was also one of the changes. But in the book, this was all planned by the Baron, because the Baron said he's gonna send Beast Raban there. It's like, but he's emotional, and it's like, yeah, he wants him to fuck up there, because then he will put Fate Ruther in charge, and everybody will worship him as the savior, because he's gonna save the planet from Beast. So it was a whole setup in the book that Beast Raban is there. He was never competent to be in charge.
Yeah, because he kept getting emotional and angry. And you can't lead acting that way.
Yeah. So that was his downfall.
Exactly.
Especially when they went to attack them, and he seen them getting their asses kicked. He started running like that.
Yeah. That was always, but it was like so well done, because you really nailed that.
Yeah.
And then later on, he had to kiss what's the name's boot, because he took over.
Yeah, he took over.
Oh man, there's so many characters I want to talk. Let's talk Gurney Halleck.
Josh Brolin.
Very, very well casted. Not ugly enough as described in the book.
Of course.
I absolutely love that we have like more time, also like hearing him singing. But yeah, also one of the best fighters in the whole galaxy, and also one of the reasons why the Emperor feared the House Atreides, because with Gurney and with Duncan Idaho like teaching the Atreides soldiers, they would become a threat to the Emperor, to his Sardaukar army.
Yeah, Josh Brolin did a fantastic job over the two movies.
Yeah.
And I love the sword fighting scene at the beginning of Dune. Like it's similar to the original, but much better. And I will say that I love the shield effects a lot more. I mean, of course, when you got 1984 technology, they did the best they could with that.
Yeah.
But the way they use the shield, where it's visible but not visible, and you only see it whenever somebody's being penetrated with the red and then stuff. I thought the special effects was great on that.
Was a fantastic choice. I really enjoyed that one. In general, when people would say it's like, hey, why are you like not really shitting, but why you're criticizing Dune Part 2 and you're defending like the 84 movie did so many things wrong. I have to say that I was asking this question myself, and then I realized I know because the 84 movie is so far from the book that I just see it as a very wild interpretation, and I just love the movie for being the movie itself. The new movies are so close to the books, so that like these changes feel more personal. Like it feels more personal with Dune Part 2, because you could have been the one to bring the book to life. While the 84 movie is like, well, this it's Dune adjacent.
Yeah. Plus, you know, the amount of handcuffs that was put on Lynch in terms of what he can do and what he can't do. He's like, I can only do so much.
Yeah, it's exactly. So I don't judge like the 84 movie really that much, you know, with but in the book it's like that because, well, yeah.
It's funny because when you watch the 84 film and then you watch Dune's Part 1 and 2, it's almost like you're seeing a complete upgrade, a different interpretation that's using the same source material, but this, you're seeing wildly different things. And then you start to say, this is different from the 84 movie, but I like it better in the 84 film. And then certain things that the 84 movie did, you like better than the new ones. So the comparisons are right there. And again, the Fremen got way more development, way more characters in there. And to me, that was the best thing I liked about Dune 2 is the Fremen's presence. And
I was just about, you know, when watching this, are they going to say it? Are they going to say it? Of course not. You studios have no balls. It's not the holy war, it's the jihad. And of course, like the movie's not mentioning that it's called like jihad, so it's like, let's say it's the holy war.
They want to call something holy, they don't. But sometimes they be against the holy.
Yeah, and also, I think that is also a thing. I mean, the first movie actually really ignored the whole religion stuff.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and the new movie, it's a very watered down version still. Because of course you have like the orange Catholic Bible and shit. I think they mentioned the orange Catholic Bible. I mean, you see it, but they don't really go in too much into the religious stuff, which like I completely understand, you know, for mainstream audience. But yeah, this is one thing where I'm saying, okay, like I totally get it. I also get it why you're not calling it jihad, because, well, we live in a fucked up world where there is like a real one still waging, which of course was in the 80s not so much present, but yeah, so like I get it that you call it a holy war because it is a holy war, but I was just really thinking, like, are you gonna have the balls to really use the lingo from the book?
But again, going back to the Gurney, I love Josh Brolian's performance.
Yeah.
But the one thing about Patrick Stewart that's legendary was when he showed up when the Harkin attack, he showed up with his gun in hand, his pug dog in the other hand, his battle cry to lead down charge. Yeah. And that will always be a cinematic, iconic experience when you see something like that.
Yeah, that's of course a little bit changed, but
I know, but Patrick Stewart, he really nailed that part to the point where you would think that that's not serious, but it just adds to the character of Gunny.
Josh Brolin had the better haircut, even it's like a fight. Yeah.
But I will say that watching these two films, you really like wish that Patrick Stewart did have more of a role in the original.
Yeah.
Because he was just that good of an actor himself that like if we would have saw just more of him as Gurner Halleck, and like him and Josh Brown would be right then and there.
Yeah, but the original is way too. It's way too short anyway. Like it's no. Like
it's a long movie, but short in terms of what they have to.
It's a long movie. The problem with the original is that second half is just rushed. It's like they got to
fast forward.
They said, "All right, we gotta keep on picking it up." Because we didn't even see that much of Gurney and Paul react into actions like we saw in part 2.
Also a character that was a little bit changed, but I think that change actually played very well, portrayed by the fantastic Rebecca Ferguson, the Lady Jessica, and she's so.
Which Lady Jessica you think is better?
Rebecca Ferguson.
Right?
Yeah.
I would say that she was better in part 2 from what I saw. In part 1.
Yeah, I really loved her growth in part 2. And like I said, you go to the 84 movie, they kind of rush through all that. But her portrayal of Lady Jessica was spot on.
Yeah, because with Rebecca Ferguson's portrayal, and of course she also had more screen time. A lot of the characters from the old movie have the fault they didn't even have like the chance to shine that much. But Rebecca Ferguson really nailed it. That she was she's a fucking Bene Gesserit, and she really showed that she's more than meets the eye to her character.
Yeah, she really stood out a lot more than the original actress from the. And then, like I said, the 84 movie is solid, but it needed more time to space out, and this is where the two movies here does so fantastic.
Exactly. Even the longer TV cut is still too short then. And even though even Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 is still too short. This is something I really don't get. They should have treated, I think this is also a Warner Brothers, they should have treated this exactly the same like they treated The Lord of the Rings.
I agree.
And make like a cinema cut and then bring out an extended cut.
Extended cut, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Movies could have went 3 hours for the extended.
Yeah, absolutely.
Movies like this, definitely, if you're going to put out something like a Dune, you got to have a cinematic cut and then the extended cut. I'll sit through 4 hours, because basically what they did with The Lord of the Rings, it was 2 discs. Each, he's like 2 hours of disc.
Caravaggio.
Yeah. But I'll definitely sit through that, because that's the thing. Once you watch the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings, you're never going back to the
cinema. Never. The cinema's cut I've watched once in my life, and that was in the cinema when it came out.
Like I thought part 2, the second Lord of the Rings, that one I thought the cinematic cut was good, but the extended was even way better. But that first one, I just cannot watch the first one at all.
And this is also a thing that of course it's not Villeneuve, it's not fault on anybody in set. It's like a whole studio thing. Is this should have never been a 2-parter, never ever. Maybe I haven't bought like part 2 yet because it's still I'm still disappointed.
So you haven't watched it a second time yet?
No, I have watched it in cinema, and I couldn't get myself to rewatch it yet. I will rewatch it in the future, but I don't feel ready yet.
Wow.
But I did the release has like the extended scenes like in there, or was it just a cinema cut?
I ain't seen nothing saying extended.
Because like all these scenes with Tufia were like filmed, they have them. Like why don't make like maybe in the future they're gonna bring out like a super cut like part 1 and part 2 together with the other scenes they have shot. If they're smart, they're gonna do that because of course this is like how to milk us fans.
It's just bonus features, so it ain't no stunning scenes, just bonus features.
And like a movie like this, they should have went into it like cinematic cut than the regular cut for the extended cut.
Yeah, and even a proper edition, it's said when a popcorn flashlight in the cinema, one flashlight, gets a better edition than the actual releases of the movie. Remember when the Lord of the Rings special editions came out, like the first movie with the Argonauts as bookshelves, then in the second one you had like the Gollum figure. And in the third one, you had like a whole city as a miniature that you can open up and put something in there. Like Dune didn't get like really a special edition release. Like nowadays, they still bring, like I showed last week, they're still bringing out better releases of the '84 movie than they do with the new one. Like they also like the international release, like Arrow videos did a fantastic job. Yeah.
The 84 release we got, Jace, does that got the TV cut?
The Arrow should have all the cuts on there.
I think
the only cut that is not on there is like the Spice Diver cut. But otherwise, it should have like the cinema cut in 4K and the TV cut in HD, I think. I didn't buy the Arrow one because there's so many fantastic German editions here, so I didn't. I don't have to buy them.
You sold your collection last week, so you have it all.
But in generally, Arrow. For me, when I like a movie and Arrow brings an edition out, for me it's like a blind buy. First of all, the 4K editions are not fucking faulty, like with some of the major studios. And second of all, you get books with it, you get posters, postcards for a really fair price. Also, like
I just got the regular edition. I ain't got the special edition.
Okay. I mean, the regular edition is still fantastic. Sometimes they even put all the postcards in the regular edition. Still like poster.
I know when it came to Arrow, I missed out on the 4K of the Conan, but I did get the Blu-ray of Conan and Conan the Destroyer.
Oh, the 4K is glorious.
Yeah, I know. I was bummed I missed out on it.
Yeah, I had to pre-order it from the US because it was like a US exclusive.
So, Reverend Mother Mohan.
Fantastic.
I really enjoyed seeing her character and her playing both sides of the field.
What's in the box? Pain.
You know what though?
Human.
I don't know why. I like the 84 version of that better than
this.
I agree. Yes. I don't know why. Because I like to seeing the hand inside the box in pain and suffering.
Yeah.
It's something visually pleasing about the special effects of that.
I like both. I think both are fantastic adaptations from the book. So I also like the aspect, with the when you really see what you think you see what he thinks is happening in there. I like both. I like the show and not show approach. Like this is something where I could not decide which I like better. I just think both are different interpretations, a little bit of it, but very accurate, and you could feel both. And
I think for me, like because we see when you watch the original and you see it, and then when you watch the new one, like they don't show it and stuff, but you understood what the character's going through.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like if you never seen the original and you never read the books and you see it, then you have an appreciation for it for what it does. It's show but don't tell. But the original, like I just love that special effects of the hand burn and stuff like that.
What I really like,
you see it and then you feel the pain with the character.
Yeah, what I like with the new one, of course, it's also with digital techniques. I think what you used very well is really that the gum jabbar, like the poison, looked so threatening. It's like, you could really feel that. I was sitting like in the cinema. It's like, don't move, don't move, don't move.
But I think she did a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
Portraying the character. Charlotte Rampling did a fantastic job. She came off as as sinister, and at the same time she's playing both sides of the field.
Yeah.
Especially when she's being the Reverend Mother for the Emperor, played by the King of New York himself.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken.
It's funny that people really didn't see
he was wasted in that role, sadly. He was.
I think you should have saw him in part 1. Because it's interesting that they ain't show the Emperor to the second part. Like, why we didn't see him in part 1? Like we see, like, that's the one that I liked in the original movie that we see the Emperor talking to the what was the name of the species again that he talked to? The one that
the navigator.
Yeah.
It's not a species, they're actually human. It's just like that they're like they're navigators, like they navigate like the vessels through the galaxy, and for that they need the spice melange. And but being like with the spice melange for such a long time, it really alters like how they look. I think that the 84 movie took it in a very interesting direction. The new movie sadly took it in no direction.
No direction.
Because we don't see a fucking navigator.
You don't see it.
And that's why, when you watch the beginning of Dune Part 1, it's like, no navigator?
The whole fucking spy skill is not there. Like,
no,
nothing.
That's how I feel. Like, watching the movie again, like, oh, so they decided to not have the Emperor or like you said, the navigator in the movie. That's Because I think if they would have had Harvey Keitel been in part 1 as the Emperor, had more screen time, and going into part 2, that build-up would have been epic of him coming down. Because that's how I felt like in the original movie. They got the message. Now, was it the princess that got the message in the original? She got it in the original movie. That's why I can't remember that scene. How he got the message from Paul, telling him about the spice trade. That's I can't remember.
About the Emperor?
The beginning.
Yes, but how did he get the message from Paul that forced him to come down to the Arcadia? I can't remember how he got that.
I forgot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because that's how I was saying that in part 2, the prince, she got the message first. That's how she knew that Paul's alive and he's calling out the Emperor. So that's how she got the message of the Emperor. He instantly wanted to go. I think that if we would have saw a buildup of the Emperor from the part 1, then continue on, because we didn't even know how he feel about the Duke.
Yeah,
the Duke, they had in the original. They had issues with each other.
And I would have loved that to see, especially, of course you don't see the screen because they didn't meet, but to have like maybe like even like a split screen to have like. And I'm worried it would be a little bit too artsy, but at least to have like a counterpart to Leto other than the Baron.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And talking about Harkonnen, one of my most favorite modern actors plays one of my most favorite roles in the book, but I love the character because he's such a fucking psycho and sociopath and sadist. Peter de Vries, played here by David Dastmalchian. Fantastic actor, loved him in everything, especially Last Voyage of Demeter. Fantastic comic book writer, like his Count Crowley comics are very entertaining. And here he plays Peter de Vries, and which is the Harkonnens' mandate, but here feels more like a diplomat. You see him in the first movie going to the planet, the Sardaukar, and making like the deal, but there's so many scenes missing, and when he then dies, which is accurate because in the book he also dies, when Leto unleashes the poison capsule. I really wanted to have more of Peter de Vries in there.
He's a great actor, and I can't wait till we finally discuss Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, I watched it because finally it came to cinemas here.
I can't wait till we discuss that film.
I watched it and I really liked it.
Yeah, I can't wait till we discuss that film. But yeah, I really enjoyed his portrayal, like you said. And when he died, it's like again accurate. And which version did you like more? Because I kind of favored the Dune Part 1
Yeah.
poisoning more than the original.
Oh, that's better.
I as much as I loved David Dasmanian, it's fucking Brad Dourif. He was also fantastic in everything. He was the one salvageable things about the fourth Alien movie. He's one of the best parts. He's one of the best actors in the series with almost only perfect actors in Deadwood.
Mm-hmm. Deadwood, yeah.
Yeah, Brad Dourif as Peter the Fleece he's fantastic. He also gets a little bit more screen time, and he plays like the psychopath way better. Well, but I also think that was like, of course, the order they gave Tasmanican, he's more like a diplomat in there, so we didn't really get to, his being into his torture fantasies and everything.
But yeah, his role was good for what we got, and the poison scene in Dune Part 1 was great. Like, it almost made you feel like the Baron got it, but he's able to get up on the wall and avoid being fully poisoned. But
let's just say it's what I think was also done so well in the new movie. It's just like, when you open up and then it's like you don't want to be the person who discovers like the Baron.
Quick, throw him in some black slime.
Yeah.
With that black slime slug.
I wanna go back on Chani's character, because that was the biggest content point with Part 2, and I do think that Zendaya did a great job with her. As much as I enjoyed the original film, we didn't get enough of Chani in it. Whereas this one, we get a lot more background on her.
Yeah.
And
almost too much.
Yeah, too much, but it's necessary for the character. But I do think there's like two parts of her, like from the first half of the movie and then the complete character shift for the second half of the movie. And as much as I enjoyed the character, that shift into the second half of the movie, it really did kind of bring it down.
Yeah.
Because it's like she's to the point now where it's like she's a detriment to Paul with how she's acting.
Yeah.
And another thing is the water of life. And the whole point of that, when Paul takes the water of life and he passes out and in the coma, I felt that was more of a dramatic effect. I was not much of a fan of that.
I think I liked more the portrayal in the first one, but I still think that neither version captured like the what is the English word? Almost like this when you like this hallucination in German, hallucination.
Yeah,
hallucination. German tongue. That it because it should have felt like a trip.
It should have.
It should have, because when you read the book, I never took drugs in my whole life, but when you read it, when I read it, I felt like, that is how it must feel to take drugs.
But yeah, I felt like that whole thing felt so dramatic, especially when she dropped a tear to give him.
I didn't like that.
You know what it should have. You know what it should have been. There's one movie who portrayed that better than any of the Dune movies. Beavis and Butthead Do America, when they ate the fucking mushrooms in the desert. This was a more accurate like water of life scene than both than both Dune interpretations did. Beavis and Butthead Do America did it better, and it was in the desert, so it fits even.
I'm taking notes. Future movie, Beavis and Butthead to America.
Masturbation.
I can't believe this man said Beavis and Butthead to America did it better than Dune.
Oh man.
Just think about. Oh my god, think about Paul waking up afterwards. Is like, who are you? I'm Concordio. I need to keep you from my bungalow.
It's like she gives him the teardrop. He wakes up. You think they gonna embrace? They embrace, and then she slaps the shit out of him. I'm like, God,
are you threatening me?
I was like,
Bang Julio.
I was like, man, Shawnee, you went from being 100 to a 0 that quick.
Yeah, that was, and I think a lot of it also has to do that they didn't really cover that Paul also basically, he was already married, because since he killed the Fremen, he took everything of his, so he inherited like his wife and the children. So from that so actually from Fremen culture, Gianni should have understood that, you know, love and marriage actually can be two very different things. So because like he was married like to already at that point, because he took over the wife and children of the Fremen that he killed. So and of course, like for Gianni, that was not a problem because she knew from her culture. But by cutting that part out in the part 2, it just took so much depth from it. I think it could have done a way better job to really make like this difference between, you know, dynasty marriages out of tradition, and to feel a true love to each other with a different person to that. So
all right, so I'm gonna ask this, and it's this in the books too. Paul Atreides being a Harkonnen.
Yeah, that's I mean, that was like the original, like the mindfuck moment in the books, and that was something I think they did very well with, like when he's like, I found out like I'm Harkonnen. Of course, in the book you have like more of an inner monologue when it's like, the fuck, like I'm like I'm a Harkonnen.
Because when I saw that because that's something that the first movie, the original movie,
They didn't touch.
glossed over.
Yeah,
They didn't touch it.
That is such a big reveal.
It wasn't.
yes.
That it's like, whoa. So Atreides is actually a Harkonnen to his mom.
Yeah, that was the whole plan of the Bene Gesserit. You know, that was also why they sent Lady Jessica's mother to Baron Harkonnen to get pregnant, and to get Lady Jessica. And it was also then, okay, let's put Lady Jessica together with Duglito. Was of course never planned that she bore like a son, because should have been of course a girl, as the Bene Gesserit order said. But this should have been like, of course, like the dynasty, like to bring both houses to peace. Long run.
And it's funny, I caught it instantly when the Emperor's daughter went to Fremen to set his genetic future.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, this, no wonder there's a book called Children of Dune.
Yeah.
Because they just spread wildfires in terms of genetics. Like, yeah, send this person to this house and get his genetic future. So
I mean, like, let's just say that there's certain scenes that we know that they would never be filmed in the book, like some orgies and shit.
I can imagine. All the houses get together.
Let's just say, I have to look. Whoever does a porn, whoever does like a porn parody of Dune could be even more book accurate.
go procreate with this house. I'm gonna go procreate with that house.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All the houses get together. One big orgy. It's crazy though that whole reveal and then the aftermath, because Paul kills him, and now he's gonna take the Emperor's daughter, who's carrying his seed.
Carrying his child. Yeah, carrying his child. Oh.
Yeah, I don't even want to think of the family trees on that one. So.
No.
Yeah. I think with how they set everything up, I also expect a lot of changes from Dune Messiah. Like, I don't want to go into spoilers here, but I think that, and personally, it depends, because now since Dune 2 was a huge box office success, which I never thought it would be.
How was it?
Yeah, I never thought that a mainstream audience can be brought into the cinema and watch a science fiction movie that is mostly about politics.
Yeah, because politics.
So I was very much. I mean, let's face it. There is not that much action in Dune,
No.
and it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to be. So I thought that I didn't think that audience would accept it as much as they did.
I'm gonna tell you this, BB. I got my dad to watch the first movie. He was not liking it at all. He was straight boring. Then he watched part 2. He said, "Oh, this is better than part 1. There's more action, more things he enjoyed."
Yeah,
I feel like in terms of when you look at the action, and now what's so about this? What's so about the ending battle of them going back? Now you know how the original movie, they showed them on top of the worms, and that was a very good visual effect. You see them all on the worm, shooting down on everyone. You'll see the worms slamming on dudes and swallowing them. We did not get any of that in part 2. Part 2, we just see the worms coming up, and that's it. We see them invading the place.
They probably wanted to save some budget.
Yeah, I'm assuming so. I'm thinking that all right, we in 2024, so we gonna see a full-fledged action of all the worms, all of them shooting at all the soldiers on there. Them coming down and start kicking ass. We ain't see none of that.
I have to say that the 84 movie did a fantastic job.
Yeah, 84 did a better job at that because we get to see them in action with the worms. So I'm thinking that we gonna probably see an expanded scene of that. And
to finally say Tremors did a better job.
If Earl was on top of the grab boy, he'd be going crazy.
I was gonna bring up right before you brought it up, Jace, that when we watched the 84 film, it's like, man, the worm special effects hold up so well, and the way they utilize, and that was another thing. Like, I like the whole tie-in of the worms as the spice is the worms. They really didn't delve into that with that thing, even though we know it's there. But I felt like the worms was a big part of the original Dune.
Yeah.
Whereas here, they played almost third fiddle.
Yes.
In general, I think that the first movie, even though they didn't go too much into the thing in the essence, I think that they highlighted the spice more. Which actually, I think that Doom Part 1 did a better job there. Especially when Paul, when they save the workers from that manipulated harvester, and when Paul touched like the sand and the spice was in there.
Yeah,
I think that was done excellent, and I think also, but like you said, Chase, the second movie lacked like the depth that the first had, which probably is better for mainstream audiences. But yeah.
After watching all 3 movies, I would definitely say that part 1 is the best overall movie of the 3.
Yeah. Part 1 is.
Oh,
Like the only thing that was said where what I didn't like, or what I said is like it was not as convincing, is that with Dr. Yoon, like
yeah,
the
that was the
betrayal.
worst part.
That was the only part in the first movie, but otherwise, yeah. Hey, Al, and finally,
Yeah.
Godzilla -1 is here, available.
We're gonna watch it this weekend.
Yeah, so whenever you have time, Al, we're gonna talk Godzilla.
Yeah, because we want to do a show on Godzilla -1, and we would love to have you on. You know, so you set a date whenever you could put in to have off, and we'll set it up.
We are not doing it without you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the worms were a big part of the '84 movie, and I agree. The first part of Dune was great. I enjoyed Dune 2, but not as much as Dune 1.
Yeah, and that maybe Dune Part 2 for me also would have been not like so much of a a disappointment is such a harsh word, but I was disappointed. If Part 1 would not have been so fantastic. It felt like a downgrade. It really felt like a downgrade.
And I feel like as for all its flaws, the '84 movie is in between for me.
Yeah, like I said, the '84 movie is for me like far enough away from the source material, so I don't judge it too much for its flaws, for its inaccuracy. So
yeah, because as much as the second half is rushed, it still has enjoyable moments.
Yeah.
And again, the actor who played Paul in that film really helped elevate it, you know, with his discovery of the spice and the water of life. I felt like the '84 movie just still has a better balance, even though it ignores a lot of stuff.
Which is very crazy, like to say like a better balance, but
because I just feel like while I enjoyed Dune Part 2, there were certain things in there that was like it prolonged too long. The whole thing with Chani and certain like not enough worms. Like we saw the worms, but we ain't see them to the full effect that we saw in the '84 film.
I like the training montage of the worms in '84 than this on Part 2.
Yeah, the training that was pretty good.
That was really good. But Part 2, it was just they just show what's the name got on the worm, and that was everyone celebrated.
Yeah.
No, it had to take him multiple tries for him to get able to get to control the worm, because he had to steer the worm too. Because that's steering the worm. Like, all right, I gotta go out. They
also streamlined like a lot there in the second movie. Like there was also felt a little bit fast forwarded.
And that's another thing. It's like certain scenes where like when Paul has to go out and experience the desert, experience the spikes on his own.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, he's back with them. I'm like, wait a minute.
I was confused on that. Right? Wait,
I thought we was going to sit there and learn the desert with Paul, but it ended up being so short, and him learning with Tanya how to move through the desert, and then he's back with the crew.
I think that was probably, I don't know if they shot it, but if compared with everything else went, I think they also cut it out because they thought like it would be too boring for the mainstream audience.
No, but the way what's the name was explaining the demons out there in the desert and the stuff that he had to look out for, I was actually looking forward to seeing him explore the desert and having to deal with its challenges.
Yeah, we got more of the shit in 300 than here.
And I was kind of disappointed in that. There were certain things in Dune Part 2 that I felt like could have been explored, but they just touched on it and then just said, "No, we're not going to do it."
Because when I was watching it in cinemas, I was at points I was so out of the immersion, because I was telling myself, you should enjoy this more than you do. Like I was really thinking, like, why I'm not enjoying this as much as I want to.
All right, so I don't. The 21st, you can't do a show, right?
Yeah, I'm on a congress. I come back. We're back at regular schedule from the 28th.
So if you can do the 28th, we can do that. But if not, then we'll try and figure out a way. But the 28th, we're coming back. We won't do a show next week, and we won't do a show on the 21st because BB's busy on that day. So let us know.
But yeah, I'm so much looking forward to see Go.
Right, so I'm at to see right now when Faye is doing the battle when he's battling the guys. What did y'all think of the black and white filter on that whole battle? Because I immediately thought, hey, man, for a battle like this, like, it gotta be some blood.
Yeah.
Well, black and white.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Why they want the black and white?
I think in general, of course they're teasing it. They're like also quite heavy on the exposition. Is like that Paul is like a dictator. Yeah, he's ruling with an iron fist, and I think they did even a better job in the first movie, like teasing it when they saw the future that he's basically bring the death to billions for his urge for revenge. Nice.
All right. Just let us know how. Yeah, it was kind of weird when they went with that filter, and I also felt like they used that filter just to highlight just how fucking pale skinned they are. Like really, like do they all have to look like that? And then when we see him in another scene with his color, he's not actually that white skin. It almost felt like I was rewatching the movie Powder again. I was like,
it's in general like I said, I was not very happy with the aesthetics of the Harkonnen.
Like I said, you put pins on them and they all be cinema.
Yeah. Like I get
on one of the videos on YouTube put up. If you put paint on his face, he look like one of the guys from the Mad Max movies, the Warriors.
Yeah,
the War Boys.
Yeah.
By the way, Furiosa is such a fantastic movie.
I'm getting that in 4K when it comes out on the box office is pretty much shocking at this point for that movie. Yeah,
but when it was like, which Mad Max movie, except for the very cheap one at the beginning, was a box office success, like a big one. Like Mad Max Fury Road also didn't overperform.
But it did pass his budget though. This movie's struggling to hit his budget. That's the problem.
We're gonna see. I still hope that a positive word of mouth is giving it some legs, because I really want to see Mad Max: The Wasteland. I wanna fucking see it. Also, like immediately after I watched Furiosa, I came home and reinstalled the Mad Max game because fucking Scrotus.
That game is getting a lot of love, right? I've been seeing people post a Mad Max game. I'm like, oh, I'm hoping this is a good thing. WB said, yo, man. This is a man for Mad Max.
And this is, I think, also that they have to counter the box office. That a lot of people buying the game now and buying Mad Max Fury Road again on Blu-ray. But I absolutely loved Furiosa. I would even say before that, I loved the Road Warrior, the second Mad Max movie, and of course I love Fury Road. But I think Furiosa is, in terms of world building, the best Mad Max movie.
Well, we'll talk about that eventually when we get out.
Yeah, naturally.
I completely forgot about the Dune Awakening video game they announced a couple years ago. It's the MMO game. I can't remember if it's going to be.
I know they have now a strategy game again. I mean, I played Dune 2 like when I was a teenager to know, and I still have a running running version of Dune 2, which of course inspired like the whole Command and Conquer franchise.
That Dune 2 the Dune 2 was on NES.
No, I don't know. I played it on PC.
Yeah.
I was never console peasant.
The way he said it, the way he said it.
Yeah, it was on NES. It was on NES Famicom PC.
Yeah, I like the first thing. The first thing when I got, no, actually three. I think it was three things. When I got my 133 Pentium back in the day, was playing Dune 2, playing NBA 96, and Anstoß, like with a football manager game.
But you know, I'm gonna say this: watching these three films, I'm going to watch the miniseries. Like I feel like now I want to watch the miniseries just to get the complete.
We gotta talk the miniseries in the future. Uwe
Yeah.
Ochsenknecht, you have more Germans in.
But I feel like, you know, just to get the complete Dune cycle out, we gotta talk the miniseries, because the miniseries themselves are long too. If you put them all together, like
Yeah, how many of them?
there was two of them, but yeah, I definitely want.
And of course, you have then the follow up, the Children of Dune series.
Yeah. I'm looking at this article, and one of the things that they said the Harkonnen was inspired by was the Nosferatu, the vampire.
I can see it, but I think that wasn't a thing. I love we talked Nosferatu. I love Graf Orlov. I love the aesthetics. Max Schreck, fantastic. Kinski also fantastic. Nosferatu.
Yeah, we gotta talk that one. I watched that a couple months ago, so we gotta talk that one.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, I will say, remember when I shared you that episode of the Hitchhiker with George with Klaus Kinski? The ending on that shit was wild, man.
I believe you. You know, there's some Kinski movies where I'm like, should I even watch it? Like, what was it? There's like a Nightcrawler or something. I don't know, crazy fucking shit. But yeah, it's like, oh yeah. The Werner Herzog Nosferatu is like, how to say it? I don't know in German, but in English, like, night is an abyss. 1,000 nights deep. Time is an abyss, 1,000 nights deep. Like,
But we all agree, especially when Jamal brought it up about the Emperor being brought in late. Because how do you have the great Christopher Walken as the Emperor and not use him in both films?
Yeah, and it feels like such an afterthought. And also, I have to say, I love Christopher Walken, but it looked like they brought him out at like 6 a.m. in the morning, straight out, like out of the bed, and put him into the uniform. And it's like, do something.
But it was disappointing when you have an actor of that caliber and he feels like he's an afterthought. He's wasted.
Yeah, he should have been in the first movie, man. Like, yeah, he gave him at least 20-something minutes or 30 minutes of screen time in the first movie. Then you can have build him up even more in the second movie.
Exactly, it's just like yeah.
And the ending just bothers me, because compared to the first Dune one, where you're looking forward to part 2, this ending, it didn't really resolve anything. Like, he got his vengeance on Harkins, but now it leads to a bigger conflict.
Yeah, much bigger conflict.
And it's like, damn, like can't they just get a victory and stuff, and then just have the third movie be the start of something new?
Yeah, I think that the '84 movie did it better in the way, because I really like, the last quote, especially with the lady Jessica, where she tells Gianni, that we are concubines, but history will remember us as wives.
That was a great line.
That was a great line. I think that was very proper. And I mean, the book has a satisfying ending, but it's also one of these endings where it's like, Can I still have some, please?
Yes, have some.
Do you have any more that you any more of
and
the spice melange?
that spice.
Mm.
And I just felt like the ending just felt like it wasn't a satisfying conclusion for me. It just felt like, oh, now we're gonna get into a whole nother big ordeal, and it's like, well, are we gonna get part 3? Which is confirmed, we're gonna get part 3. But I'm like, can I at least get a victory and some good vibes? The movie ended kind of dark with how it.
Like I said, it was a dark ended, negative energy from coming from Paul. Like
instantly.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, like
Paul needs to make it rain for it to be happy.
yeah.
But yeah, I wish, sometimes I wish, I could change things in this movie. But yeah, it's like I just wanted to be satisfied. I was not satisfied.
Vivi, this better not go on the route of the Matrix.
Oh my god.
I never liked Matrix. Luckily, I never liked Matrix. So I only watched the first movie.
Yeah, it's good because Matrix Reload had a crazy cliffhanger and they're like, what's going on here? Like, why are you do now? How long part 3 is coming out? Now we gotta know because we better not wait no 3-4 years for part 3.
But yeah, who has the better design? The Harkonnens, the War Boys from Mad Max Fury Road, or Ashy Larry?
What was that?
Ashy Larry.
Damn. Ashy Larry. Man, he clapped his hand. He got knocked.
Hey, Ashy Larry will fit in perfectly with the Harkonnens, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I still wish the Chappelle show would be on. I just thinking about the comparison, like in the arena.
Hey, you throw ash in your face.
Oh, you do the clap, man. He clap, man. A lot of ass flying right to you. He be like, what? He covering ass. He be blind by his ass.
From ashy to classy.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, leave it to me to talk Chappelle joke, man. Oh my god.
He'll be the new hero. Man, look at him like, I'm proud. Yeah.
So, any more to add, DV and Jace?
I mean, generally, but I think we've made our point. Where, like I say, like I don't blame anybody for being fully satisfied with Doom Part 1 and Part 2.
There's a lot of people that love Part 2. Everyone that we came, I mean, Sean Alex last week, he praised it like, oh man, y'all gonna love Doom. He told us that we need to go to the theater and see it. Because that's a lot of people say that it is a cinematic experience when you watch it in the day. So I'm like, I'm glad cause I wanted to two weekends in a row I was supposed to go to the theater and see it, and I ended up passing up on see it. One weekend I was sick, the next weekend I got up so late, I ain't gonna see it. I'll wait till it come out 4K.
Yeah. In general, very often that's a wise decision to wait like for the 4K at home.
Yeah.
Watch it at your own accord.
Exactly.
But I thought this was a great experience though, watching all these films, the Dune films, and like I said, while I was disappointed with 2, I didn't dislike it. There's still some good things in it.
Exactly. And I think this. I even think that this punishes me a little bit more because it's like there was like everything was there that it was just missing like the final push.
And it's funny that I was interested in hearing your take last week on why you dislike Dune 2, and then when I watched Dune 2, I'm like, damn, I didn't even read the books, and I didn't really like certain things in this movie as much. So as soon as you brought up Tanya, I was like, yep, That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Wow.
It's while she got more development, at the same time she kind of hindered a lot of things in that last act. And I was like, I think that was my biggest issue with the film.
Yeah, it's just
And I really did want it to end better with Paul avenging his family and just enjoying this time with the Freeman, knowing that there's a bigger battle ahead. But I just wanted him to enjoy this victory, like in the first film, and then instead it leads to more war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think that a lot of the parts that would have been more enjoyable for us to be more like part one was impossible to put in because 2 movies is way too short to do.
And I did like Paul's conflict with his visions and not wanting to go to the south because if he goes to the south, everybody dies and stuff like that.
It was like this is one of, I think this is like a movie trope that I very often criticize. When we, the audience, we already know he's going there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas basically it's like, at that moment, the immersion stops and you're just like, well, I'm back when he's on track.
You wait for him to go, but he's so conflicted on it. Like, even it's like, bro, just go. Stop fighting yourself.
Yeah, stop fighting.
Your visions are always, they're not always going to come to pass. You can change that.
Go to South, like, go be the mass murdering demagogue that you will be. But just go.
But yeah, another thing I love the Freeman attacks on the Harkins.
Oh yeah, they
coming out of the sand.
Yeah,
the setup that they played. The Freeman really had a great presence, even when they set up certain traps and stuff.
Yeah,
and they had to take out the big ships.
I think in general, of course, there would have been so much more, but I think in general, the portrayal of the Fremen culture was done very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would definitely say that is they done way better than the original. Because the original, like the film was there, but they really just had no development at all.
Yeah, they were basically just the original was a Deus Ex Machina army.
Ex Machina army. Yeah. The suits they wear too. The suits they wear. The suits they wore in part 1 and 2 definitely fits the environment of the planet.
Yeah, what I also like with the part 1, of course, with Duke Leto, they really showed he was a tactical mastermind. He knew it was a trap. The only thing was he never had a chance because he thought he would have some time, and immediately we have we need the desert power. So just a perfect portrayal of Duke Leto, and also the tragedy of it because he would have done everything right, but he never had a chance because the game was rigged against him straight from the start.
What did you, before we goes, what did you think of the Light Canals character that Max Van Sydow played in the original?
I mean, in general, I think he did a good job. I'm talking for Max von Sydow, like he did a great job.
He played in the original.
I think she also did a good job. Was it necessary to gender bend the character? Absolutely not. But I'm also not somebody who is, that says, hey, I don't give like an actress a chance to make the character her own. I think she did a great job. Quite different, of course, from the source material. I also think that her death in the movie is more impactful than in the books, which is, I think, in the books, I understand it how Frank Herbert wrote it because it feels like a throwaway death, but death very often when you get caught by the wrong people is a throwaway. So it was quite realistic. While in the movie, that that her sacrifice meant something, like in that tone of storytelling, I get it. So I get both approaches, and this is like something where I see a change. Like, okay, I see what you're doing there. It's working. Like, is it necessary? No, but you made it work.
I definitely agree with it, and I felt like her character had a more impact than the original 84.
Yes, absolutely, and they gave her that, and she took it and she turned it into something very good. And the actress she had a fantastic screen presence. So
yeah, but overall, I enjoyed both films. Part one more, and I think this was a fantastic discussion of delving into the characters, the differences from the books, the 84 film, and how the recent film did it. And it's been a fascinating watch. And like I said, I'm putting the Dune miniseries on notice. We're gonna talk that in the future. And I feel like if we could do it maybe next month, I'm down for it.
Next month, July.
I know, right?
We already
halfway point of the year.
Yeah.
It'll be Christmas by and I'm like, shit.
I next month I'm gonna be 41 and I'm gonna post a fucking Glover like I'm too old for this shit, because he was 41 when he was too old for this shit.
Yeah.
we still haven't talked
Lethal Weapon. We need to talk. I got the in-house down here, man.
We talked Loaded Weapon, but
how can y'all talk Loaded Weapon before Lethal Weapon?
How the fuck did it came to this?
Yeah, we definitely gonna talk the Lethal Weapon franchise.
It's a Christmas movie, so we can make it a Christmas special.
Yeah, the first movie indeed. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, great discussion, guys.
Yeah.
Had a great time. Thanks to our people in the chat, Al, Dusty Big Brown. Definitely gonna talk Godzilla -1. Hi, Leah.
He started it. He ended it.
He started and ended it. Caravaggio, thanks for joining. And of course, Kenneth Burr, who shows up every week.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, bro. So, we'll be off 2 weeks. I'm going to Heroes Con next weekend, so I'm going to have a blast. And we won't be back until the last Friday of the month. That's up in the air. We'll
Maybe
find
Godzilla.
out. Huh?
Maybe Godzilla, yeah.
It's up in the air, though. For
maybe.
our schedule. Godzilla -1 is the target, but depending on our schedule, it might be something else until ours.
That's a good thing. We're not running out of movies.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of movies.
But I'm also gonna watch if it arrives tomorrow. Because I was waiting for it to be on sale. Because first I was waiting for it to be released on a physical medium. Because I'm not gonna give. It's gonna be a cold day in hell before I would ever subscribe to Disney Plus. But I'm finally getting Prey on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I still gotta get that, the physical copy of that.
Yeah, we gotta talk Prey.
Yeah.
And then whenever you get, if you watch Late Night with the Devil,
I already watched it. I've seen it in cinema today. On Wednesday, I saw it in cinemas.
So if Godzilla -1 don't work out, we can do
then
that.
Then we're gonna Late Night with the Devil. Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah,
Even if you could call it a movie, it's
and it's based on like Ghost Watchers from 1992.
Basically, it's based on a lot of things. A lot of the characters in there are based on real people.
Yeah.
And I think I'm also pretty sure that a lot of the cult things are based on real Hollywood experiences.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Sorry.
So if we do that at the end of the month, that'll work.
Perfect.
All right, y'all. So I just want to say peace. Have a great weekend.
And most of all, thank you, Chase, for being here again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always
Always
awesome having you here.
Always pleasure.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next time.